Hello, and welcome to the Sunrise Gratitude Summit, a video series for better mornings. I'm Emily Silva, the author of Sunrise Gratitude, and today I'm speaking with Natasha Hemmingway. She's an entrepreneurial-based sales coach and speaker, and the creator of Heart Not Hustle, a coaching firm founded with an aim to help entrepreneurs find and focus on the deeper meaning behind their business motivation and sales message. She helps entrepreneurs master their authentic sales process, achieve meaningful success, and maximize their sales wins by bringing heart, not the hustle. Natasha spent over 16 years as a successful sales professional with a Fortune 500 company and held a corporate role as a senior territory sales manager prior to the personal tragedy that led her on a life-altering path to redefine her own success and joy. After leaving the corporate world, she found a heart for entrepreneurs looking to garner their gifts and passions to create their own businesses. Her collegiate background, unique career experience, and motivating empathy all play into the success of Heart Not Hustle. Clients and partners of Natasha's experience, her warmth and toughness through her research-based methods and one-on-one tactics that help them grow as entrepreneurs, organizers, and leaders. Today, she continues speaking and coaching entrepreneurs by helping them focus on the heart of the business and not just the hustle. Welcome, Natasha.
Hi, Natasha. It's so wonderful to see you. You look lovely in that dress.
Thank you so much, Emily. I am happy and honored to be here.
So this book is Sunrise Gratitude, and it's all about helping people activate their mornings. And I have some beautiful people on this summit, including you, to help people make the best of their mornings and, of course, their entire days. So my first question is, would you consider yourself a morning person?
No, I am not. I'm
so
not.
Honest.
I am. I mean, right? Like, I'm not a person that I love getting up early. Let me say that. But once I get up, like I'm in flow though, but I wouldn't call myself a morning person, to be honest.
So once you're up, what gets you into flow?
First is reading devotional, having time for prayer, and just being able to be quiet. Because once I get up, I have a 6-year-old, so it is like go time once that happens. So for me, that centers me first.
You have a 6-year-old and a business.
Yes. 2 babies. See? The business is a baby and the 6-year-old, I feel like.
So do you have like a certain amount of time that you need to give yourself before your son wakes up so you know that you're ready for the day?
Yes. So even though I wouldn't consider myself a morning person, I know that it's not easy for me to get up, but I know it's also essential for me to set my day and set my intentions for my day. So I have multiple alarms, Emily. Let's just say that. And I have it mapped out. I'm not kidding, where I have built-in time to snooze. And then I have my alarm that's like, okay, no more. We get up. And then that kind of sets me into flow. So I am a person, on the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 2 and I'm a wing 3, wing 1. So I'm the helper, but I'm also the achiever and the perfectionist. So I have it like down to a T. I have multiple alarms. And they tell me what to do when.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Enneagram for a minute. So you're a 2, you're a helper. I'm a 1, I'm the perfectionist. So
Right.
With the wings, where I want to help everybody, but I also want to be a peacemaker where I just want to chill and make sure everyone's okay.
Yes.
But knowing that you're a 2, and this kind of goes into our questions with everything that's going on in the world, COVID and Black Lives Matter, there's some really deep, heavy subjects, even unemployment, because you're a sales coach.
Yes.
So as a helper, how has all of this affected you on the Enneagram scale?
Yeah, you know what? I have had to, being the 2, I naturally want to spring into action and support, hold space, love, uplift, empower, have hard conversations on all levels, whether it's the largest civil rights movement that we're experiencing right now, Black Lives Matters, the economy, COVID, how people need to still be showing up and selling in their business. Naturally, I go to that front. So whether I've been hosting calls around racism and having the hard conversations for a lot of white women and their communities, or whether it is being in COVID and hosting webinars or workshops on how to sell in these uncertain times, that has been my go-to. But I also notice when I swing and shift into the unhealthy behavior of a 2, where I'm starting to put other people before my needs. And what that leads me to is it leads me to being exhausted. And I have to watch that and also having to vocal and verbalize, right? That, hey, be vocal about it and verbalize that, hey, I need to take a step back. I need to pause so that when I do come forward, I am at my best to serve everybody else. Like, for example, this is an unhealthy part of my too, right? In the spirit of wanting to help and show up, I think it was last week, I spoke 5 different times last week. And I told my
Wow.
manager, I'm like, don't ever let me do that again. And I was like, hold me accountable to that, because I do swing into that. Like, you need me, I'm there. You're hiring me for this, I'm all in. If it's even all the things with Black Lives Matter, I've not gotten paid one dime and I don't intend to. It's all been free out of my time during my business hours. But I will say yes and yes and yes and yes. And then I am crashed. And so I have to be careful, very careful with that.
So how is your business manager in holding you accountable? Does it help to have someone say, you've said yes 10 times?
Yeah. She, you know what? It is beyond helpful when you know that someone has your best interests and they are part of your business just as much as you are, and they love it and they want to protect you and your business. I gave her that permission, because when she was scheduling things, she asked me, she was like, are you sure you want to put that one extra one? I was like, yeah, no problem. Go ahead. It's fine. And then afterwards, I was like, never again. Don't let me. And she's like, remember I asked? And I'm like, yeah, you did. And I just went on past it. And I was like, from now on, you have that autonomy to hold me accountable, because you have to help me stay healthy, right? Because what I do as a coach and a speaker, I'm constantly pouring out, which honestly is very easy for me. But it also too, I can get to unhealthy levels, right? Unhealthy behaviors in places too, where it's just like too much.
I think it's really important, not just as an Enneagram 2, but as a woman, to be okay to say, I need help. Please make me stop. Or this is my boundary, because I don't think you just have to be an Enneagram 2 to want to help everybody. I mean, there's a lot of us that have this bleeding heart that's like, yes, I want to help, let me serve. But it's also a strength to say, I need to say no. I need to set a boundary. I need to ask for help. So good for you.
Yeah. I'm proud of me too, because it would be usually charge ahead, charge ahead, charge ahead. But I also know that, like, because I'm the helper, the way that I frame it in my mind, Emily, is because I'm a helper. Not only do I want to help people, but I want to give them my best.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am not pacing myself and holding myself accountable and being healthy, I can't show up and give people my best. So when people hire me to speak or they hire me to coach, they have an expectation of having me at my best, and rightfully so. When it's having a hard conversation and it's an unpaid thing and we're talking about racism, they want me at my best. So I have to hold myself accountable to keep myself healthy so that I can give people not just my help, but give them my best.
Let's talk about that. So the way I met you is through Hatch Collective's Talk on Racism. And you came on and you spoke to a bunch of women and you were talking about shifts that need to be made. Yeah. And you've seen some shifts, but there's still a lot of work to do. So can you speak to this?
Yeah. I always explain it this way. Every time I've been on, I don't even know how many calls, and I have some coming up next week around this conversation of Black Lives Matters and being an ally and dismantling racism and being an anti-racist. I tell everyone, I'm like, listen, this is a journey. You're going to mess up. You're going to say the wrong things. You're not going to get it right. But the key is, I need you to be committed to the journey. Not this is, oh my gosh, I feel pressure to speak right now and it's a hype and I need to do it. No, really think about, is this something that you really want to get behind? Because we need you for the long haul in this. This is not something you jump on, you jump off. This is a journey. You're going to be constantly learning and learning. You're going to be constantly holding a mirror up in front of your face and saying, I see this and I don't like it, but I'm okay to learn from it and move through it. And that takes energy. It takes energy. And even you have to pace yourself, because you can get on this journey and try to do all the things and burn out. And when you burn out, you're no good. You can't keep your foot on the gas and be in the direction that we need you to dismantle racism. So it's really important that you are also mindful that this will not happen overnight. I'm not going to be able to do everything in 1 week or a month, or how long it's been since May now, what, going on maybe
3.
2 months, two
Yeah.
months in a week. Maybe like it's not going to get all accomplished, but committing to this new lifestyle and the way that you walk out and live out your life as being an anti-racist and being an ally. And then even for myself, being the Black woman that gets the opportunity to have the hard conversations and answer questions for people and hold space in that way, I have to also be committed to my health and the journey, and knowing that it's not going to happen overnight and that it brings up different triggers for me. So, because we've been on this journey for a long time as Black people, like it's not new for us,
No.
but it is new in the sense that everybody wants to talk about it right now. And that can be very triggering too. So I think we all have to just know where we are, and that this is long game.
And how do you protect your energy with all the things that they're flying your way, but they're just also flying all over the world? Just, it's crazy right now.
Yeah. Number one, I don't watch TV. That is just something that is one way for me. It's not for everybody, but one way for me is I literally do not watch TV. Like ever since the last election, I was like, I can't be a part of this. It's just too much. I think also too is protecting my energy too, is knowing when I don't have it to give and being able to kindly say, hey, right now it's just not good, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer your question, or schedule a call, a racism call on my calendar for 2 weeks from now. So it's me being able to pace myself and to be able to say and ask for what I need that's going to fit best for me. So I can show up and serve at my best, but also being able to sometimes, even if it's Instagram DMs, because I love going back and forth with people on Instagram DMs, I will voice message people. Like I am that person.
You are.
I'm like, humans are my jam. Like I love people and I love connection is for me, it is so important. And so I want to be intentional with that, but I can't sometimes, like I'll come off of a call and sometimes there will be, I've had it one time where they're like 50 plus DMs and messages. And I'm like, I want to touch every person, but I've got to pace myself. Right. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be done right now.
So let's talk about your former life where you had this fast-paced sales career, and what caused you to shift? Because I think that having a corporate job can really serve us in our businesses, but it also can be detrimental to our health. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey from star saleswoman to today where you're a star entrepreneur?
Well, honestly, I just want to be honest with all the people. This has been a journey, right? Like I did not wake up like this and I'm like, yes, I'm a star, I'm killing it always. No, it really, honestly, my journey in that transition and shift really started when we lost our first full-term son in 2013. That was the first real tap into the shift where I knew that I was being called to something greater. Like it was dropped in my spirit. It was this is no longer it. And there's something else, but I don't know what it is. And the words literally that came to my spirit and that came to mind is that I know I'm called for greater. I know I'm made for more, but I don't know what it is. Like it was just that little mantra that kept going. And it was a journey and a process of, us losing our first full-term son, me speaking those words to my husband. We were on our way back from a vacation after a couple of months after we lost our son. Then me getting quickly pregnant again, the second time, which we have our healthy 6-year-old boy here, but getting pregnant quickly after that. And also all of this happening, being in the push and in the hustle of going after a big promotion where I ended up being the only African-American senior territory sales manager across the division, across the country. I don't say that to brag. I say that because just letting you know a glimpse into the environment that I was in. So obviously being a minority, being a double minority, a Black woman, those expectations and that drive or the work that it took to get there is almost 10 times greater because it's not really anybody else there. So we're not at the time that I was in the run for that. And so to get that, and then I got pushed out of my job. Like 5 months later, I get that promotion and then I get pushed out of my job.
Mm.
And then like the whole time, Emily, like God was tapping me like that thing wouldn't go away. I know I'm made for more. I know I'm called for greater, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I remember even going to a networking group where these were all entrepreneurial women, and I would show up in my scrubs on my lunch hour when they would have their monthly meeting, because I knew that there was something next for me. I knew it was entrepreneurship, but I didn't know what it was. So I was like, you know what? I might not be there now, but I'm about to go and put myself amongst these other women who are already there, because maybe something's going to come to me about where I'm supposed to be. And so once that happened, after getting pushed out of my job, it really was my husband speaking that life into me when I didn't have that faith in myself. He was able to breathe it and speak it into me. And he was like, now's the time. He was like, you've been getting this tap. You know it's time. And I'd already started doing health coaching on the side. And so he was like, are you going to take the leap? And he was like, I know it doesn't look like what you think it should look like and the way that you wanted it to map out. He was like, but are you going to take the leap? Like, you're going to have to make a decision. And I decided to leap. And I'll be honest, Emily, that first leap that I took was not where I am now.
Yeah.
That was not it. It was being a health coach, studying for my health coach certification, building a business behind it, and giving it a year. We talked to our financial advisor, all the things, giving it a year, 9 months in, realizing, oh, this is not it. And then I shifted into what I call my surrender season, where I had to surrender everything, my ego, my pride, my status, not having this job, all of the money that I was making, all of those things had to literally be stripped away. And I had to, as one of my clients says, I had to release to receive. I really had to release to receive. In the way that I say it, I had to surrender what I thought success was, where I thought I was supposed to be, the money that I was supposed to make. I had to surrender all of that and stand in obedience to say yes to the thing that I was being called to. And saying yes to that is what then led me to here. And it's been a journey, the whole thing evolving, like becoming a speaker first, then a coach, and then moving into really niching down into, instead of meaningful success coaching, niching down into sales coaching. And so I'm always very transparent and honest about my journey, because I think we can often look at other people, especially those of you who might be listening and you know you're being called to something, but you don't know what it is, or you know what it is, but you're afraid. You can look at people like Emily, or you look at people like myself, and you think, oh my gosh, I could never do that, or I can't see myself there. But I want you to know that I've been there, and that yes, you can. You can. And it takes time. It takes intention. It takes moving through the fear, because I believe there's no such thing as fearless. But it takes taking those steps to get there. And so that's been that journey and that shift and transition as to how I got here.
So you said a lot of beautiful things, but two things that really stuck out for me: drop down into my soul and my surrender season. And I think that many of us are in a surrender season because there's so many of us who have been pushed out of our jobs. Or maybe our businesses aren't doing as well as they were in 2019, and we've had to do a lot of pivoting or restructuring. But the dropping down into your soul, it's something that you had to stop and be open to listening to. How did you hear that?
Oh, okay. So honestly, I was asking, I'm like, God, what is it? Like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, what to do with this? And I think in order to hear, however you hear, right? Mm-hmm. However you hear, spirit, soul, your mind, however you hear, you have to be still, and you have to be open to hearing, because sometimes we are so busy. We are so in hustle mode. We're so on our own agenda. You can't even hear audibly the people that are standing in front of you who are there for your best and highest good. You can't even hear them because you are so focused. And as a type 1, a perfectionist, we work plans. Like we have plans, 30, 60, 90-day plans. We have game plans. We got A plan, A, B to Z. And so it took me taking my hands off, because also the word that kept coming to me once I was in that season being pushed out of my job and we took that leap, it was surrender, surrender, surrender. I got the word in different ways, Emily, 3 times in a matter of 24 hours. It was so clear. Like there was no denying it. It's like, what you going to do? Be a disobedient, or you going to be obedient? Right. And so I was like, I remember driving, and it was the 3rd time I heard it, and I just dropped my son off from school. This is the third time I heard it. And I literally took my hands off the wheel and I was like, okay, I surrender. I am done. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the avenue, but I'm surrendering. And you better show up, God. Because if you're telling me to do it, you better show up and you better lead me the way, because you say you'll never leave me, you'll never forsake me. Show up. And so obviously it's not like a genie thing, right? Whatever you believe in, right? Whatever you believe in, there's no like rub the lamp, get what you want. It's a process. And so that surrendering, I called it like I had to die to thyself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to literally die to thyself, that flesh, that I want this, I want that. I have this plan. It didn't work. Now what? Like all of that. Like, it was one of the hardest times outside of losing my son, the hardest times. But it was also when I look back, it was the most beautiful experience, because I would have never been here if I didn't go through that. This experience wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same.
And surrender is one of the hardest words to hear from intuition, God, the universe, spirit, your genie, whatever, because it's not what you want to hear. You want to hear take a left and it's going to take you right here.
Right.
So when and also I think when we're in a career that's corporate, there's a sense of control, especially if you're high performing. So how did you let go of all control, knowing that success was always at your fingertips, to just navigating the unknown? What did you do?
I honestly had to lean deep into my faith, because when you are at that moment where you've worked so hard from something and it's snatched away from you, and you don't have like explanation, understanding, like you feel lost, you can get caught up in your own head. And so for me, my faith is what anchors me always. I am nothing outside of my faith. I am who I am because of my faith. And so for me, it was, and it's the same thing with losing my son. Like those days, the deepest, darkest times, the deepest, darkest seconds, minutes, hours, but it was my faith that sustained me to say, I'm going to make it through this. It will be painful. It might not feel good, but I can make it through this. I can stay on this earth and be a living, breathing, productive human. Like I would have to have a conversation with myself. And so the same thing with this job, like being in that, I really honestly didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice, Emily, because I had tried to do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to a point where you're like, I literally was like, I told my husband and my mom, I don't even know what I'm good at anymore. Like I can't even tell you what I'm good at. Because, that's how you think about it. Like, well, what's the business you want to build? What are you passionate about? What are you good at?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. So I had to get still, sit still, be quiet, and I had to surrender. That's it. That was the option. Or I could have continued to suffer. And I would choose surrender over suffering any day.
So is that where you came up with the name Heart, Not Hustle?
Yeah. Yes. It was after being in the corporate setting and 16 years of sales, it is hustle. There's nothing about it not hustle. There are quotas, expectations, numbers. You have to roll up plans. There's money involved. The money that you bring and that you produce rolls up to Wall Street, rolls up to the bigger company. Like everything about it is hustle. You know where you are, where you have to be every single week, every single day. The goals are broken down. And when I started moving into the entrepreneurial space, I am very vulnerable and transparent anytime I speak anywhere, because I believe that's what helps other people who aren't there yet or who aren't where they want to be connect, and it helps move them forward to know that they can. So when I came and I started in entrepreneurial sales, I was in a mastermind, Emily, where there were people that had less sales experience than me that were blowing past me making sales. And what I realized as I worked with my business coach, I was still in this zone of hustle mentality. My energy was showing up that way. My verbiage was showing up that way. My follow-up with people was that way. and not hustle in like a mean way, but there was nothing connected. It wasn't connected. It wasn't like, wow, like I actually want to help you. Like I wanted to help people. It's like, who can I get? Who's next? Like how many people
Transactions.
can I help? Yeah, transactions. And I'm like, what am I doing? And part of that came from scripting.
Yeah.
Because in corporate, you get your sales script, you get your binder about your new products, you get different profiles of who you're selling to, whether it's the patient or physician, you learn it, you memorize it, you script it, and it becomes a little bit of you. But this thing has been tried, true, tested through corporate before it ever even got to you.
Yes.
Pilot all things. So my mindset was still there. And I'm like, this isn't working. This isn't working. Like I am going about this wrong. And then when I started talking to other entrepreneurs who were struggling with sales, their big thing was I feel icky, manipulative, grimy, or like a used sales car person. Somebody even said the word predatory. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I started thinking like, wait, like they're feeling that way. I don't feel that way when it sells. I'm not afraid to sell. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have any roadblocks. But if they're feeling that way, and I've been over here doing it the wrong way of hustling people, and they feel like when they're doing it, they're hustling. It literally just popped out of my mouth one day when I was talking to my branding and marketing manager. I was like, I want to help people understand the journey that I've been through of how to understand how to sell with heart, not hustle. So that they are not hustling people, but instead they are there with their heart forward, looking to connect, serve, impact, and support that person in their need. And so it just became a thing. It was like, became my whole entire brand that day. We were like, that's it. That's it. So.
Yeah, it's really hard to go from corporate to entrepreneurial, especially when you're doing soulful work, to turn off the transactional side of you, because the scripts, you want to write out your scripts and you want to follow them to make sure that you're hitting all the points, but you're selling yourself and you're selling your brainchild. So how can somebody who stepped out of corporate into entrepreneurship take away some of that hustle? And just a couple tips on like, how do you use your heart to get the sale and not feel icky and predatory? What a horrible word.
Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa, that's deep. Never heard that one. We've got some work to do here for sure. I think the first thing that people need to understand when you're an entrepreneur is that sales is a long game. People come and they expect that I'm going to help them make a ton of money in like 3 months. And I'm like, that's not the case. Not in the way that I do it, right? You may make a lot of money. Some people do make a lot of money in the time that they're with me, but it depends on where they are in their business.
Yeah.
But I think you have to understand that it's a process. That's the first thing. It's a long game. Okay. And I'm not talking about your sales cycle as to how long it takes you to close someone. I'm not talking about that, but in general, in your business, you're not going to launch something, have a business and make $1 million in a year. Some rare people do it, but that's not generally the way. But I think the other thing on how to sell with heart, not hustle, is that you have to be there. Your number one job is to find out how you can help the person in front of you. Mm-hmm. So your shift has to be from it being about you and your business. What question are you going to ask them? How are you going to close them? How are you going to upsell them, downsell them if they don't like your product? All those things. The first and most important question you need to be asking them is, how can I help you? When you're in a sales conversation with them and you're on a sales call or strategy call, discovery, breakthrough, needs analysis call, consultation call, whatever you want to call it, you are in a opportunity to sell that person. You're in a position to take them from being interested all the way into being a buying customer, right? Helping them make a buying decision. Through that process, your whole thing is that you are there for them. You are there to serve them, bring value to them, and find out how you can help them. Because your job really is, you're there to help them remove the obstacles for them to be able to say yes to the growth they say they desire. So if you're there talking about yourself so much, and you're there focused on closing the deal, you are not going to be actively listening. You're not going to be present. You're going to miss things that they say that you can then mirror back to them and have them see that thing or walk themselves through something. You're going to miss so many opportunities to show up for that person. And that's all they want you to do anyway. They don't really care about you and your accolades and stuff. They don't care. They've already stalked you before they got on the call.
Yeah.
They see value in you. That's why they're on the call with you in the first place. So stop trying to sell yourself and your services and your products, and instead flip that and simply be there to find out how you can help that person. What are their obstacles? What are their challenges? How you can remove them in that call so that they can say yes to working with you, buying something with you, to be able to get the growth they desire or an outcome that they desire.
Yeah, something I always tell my clients is if somebody books a call with you, breakthrough, discovery, whatever call, they're already expecting to be pitched. Like, like you said, they've stalked you online, they've clicked on the link, like they want you to tell them, yes, let's work together.
Yeah. I tell my clients, stop being weird. Okay. Stop being weird. Like, they're humans, right? You're talking to another human that actually has an interest in you. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Now show up, because they also expect you to be the lead guide expert that they see you showing up being on Instagram, that they see you on your website, or they heard you speak somewhere. So when they come into this space with you, that's not the time to shrink back and be like, because when you start getting nervous, that's where that scarcity, that discomfort starts coming to place, and you're out of sorts. You're not yourself. You're not grounded. You're not leading the conversation or the call. They're leading it. You're insecure. It all goes in this wrong way. So show up and be confident, and be able to articulate your sales message and your sales voice from a place of confidence, ease, and grace.
Love that. So how do you help people? I know that you have some one-on-one programs, but what are some ways people can work with you?
Yeah. So the two main ways to work with me, I'm all about keeping it simple. One is one-on-one coaching. That's it. And then two is I have a group coaching program called Hello Clients, Hello Cash. And that's another group coaching program that's ongoing. People can come in whenever they want. And and I basically, the main gist of what I help people do is I help them develop a authentic and customized sales process, because everybody's business is completely different. And so what your sales process is going to look like is different than mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I help them actually master their authentic sales voice, achieve meaningful success. That meaningful success, let me tell you the definition that I got in my surrender season, is creating and cultivating what matters to you most and brings you purpose and joy.
That's beautiful.
And it's one of the biggest things, because you cannot sell something from a place of heart, not hustle, if you don't even love it and find purpose in doing it yourself. Right? So helping you achieve that, and then helping them maximize their sales wins by bringing the heart, not the hustle. So it's the sales process, your sales voice, meaningful success, and maximizing wins with heart, not hustle.
So the group program's ongoing. How long is the one-on-one program?
One-on-one, people can work with me in 2 ways. It's either 3 months or 6 months timeframes. And then that's it.
So we talked a lot about releasing, surrender. Can you give us one more example in your business specifically, maybe recently, where you had to release and surrender and what your results were?
Oh, yes. One that happened recently, a couple of weeks ago, was having to release someone from my team. They'd have been with me for a year and like 2 months, really knew my business. And it was just a time. It was a timing thing, but having to release that and surrender it, again, the control in me was not wanting to, I was nervous about it. A, I was heartbroken by it. B, I was nervous about it because I'm like, oh gosh, what do we do now? Because it affects my group coaching program.
Yeah.
As far as the back end systems, right? And so, if we do that, then what do we do? How do we quickly find someone else to figure out this space? And so, in this role of expertise. And so that was really hard because it was not in my control. It was literally just the timing. There's all these details to it, but it just had to happen. And as much as I didn't want it to happen, I knew it had to happen. And so that was that conflict of, Tasha, like, you gotta open up. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. And so I had to surrender it. And so, and I love the person dearly. It's no drama, none of that, because I don't do that. But it was still very hard to do.
So the results afterwards, did you find a sense of ease?
You know what? I did because I knew it was the right move. Even though I didn't want to do it, I knew in my gut after I prayed about it I knew it was the right move. And now my team, we're exactly where we need to be, where
Perfect.
the execution will happen. So
So I have two more questions for you. The
yeah.
first one is, what are you reading right now? Because when you were on Katie's call, you gave me a bunch of book recommendations. So I think you're a great person
Oh,
to give us all some book recommendations.
I am like, I'm a little bit like, I tend to listen to, so y'all, I might be listening to audiobooks, but then I also will be reading books. Okay. So I have like a stack on my nightstand. So I'm reading Profit First right now. I just started that. I'm listening to The Ride of a Lifetime. It's Disney's CEO.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to Atomic Habits.
Such a good book.
Right. Listen, I made one of my clients listen to it. I'm like, you have to listen to this because her big thing is accountability. I'm also listening to Grace Over Grind, which is a really short, good book, which keeps us out of hustle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other paperback, I just bought a book to take to the beach, which is it Wild? It's old,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
saw it on Super Soul Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Cheryl Strayed.
Yes. And I remember seeing it a long time ago and the movie came out and I was like, oh, I really want to read that. And then I forgot about it. And then I just ordered that. So I'm like, I'm kind of all over the place, Emily.
But I like the variety, and Wild is such a good book to read, especially right now. And the way she does sentences, I'm like, oh, I want to write like you someday.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm like, I just want to go. She makes me want to go backpack. I'm like, I want to tell my husband and my kids, I don't know anything about backpacking, but she makes me want to believe that I can just go take some long trek by myself. I'm just
You can
saying.
do anything you want.
I'm so right. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
my final question, and my favorite question to ask people, is, what are you grateful for?
Oh man. Oh, that is so hard to put it down to one.
Well, you can give me a few. You don't have to say
Right?
one thing.
Okay. I would say number one, my family. Like the fact that I have my son, I have my husband, like that's just key to me. If, like I said, I'm a connector, I'm a person of like connection. I would say my family, my mom, my son, and my husband, those three, those are my everything, especially because my mom's a breast cancer survivor. My
Mm.
son is a rainbow baby. So family to me. And then my husband is the one who speaks life into me when I don't think I can do it. So that for me, grateful for my family and our ability to sustain a healthy mindset amongst no matter what happens to us. That, and then I would say, oh man, the opportunity that I get to serve my clients. I talked about it on my Instagram today, is that you never know the thing that you do, only you can do it the way that you do it. And I
Mhm.
think we forget that sometimes because we think, oh, somebody does this, oh, not me. No, no one can do what you do and do it the way that you do it. And man, it literally brings me to tears. Like I get to serve and impact my clients' lives. And I never take that for granted because I just last night had an experience where I I did not know I impacted my client's life like that. And it wasn't
Mm.
even about business. It was faith wise, speaking into her. And to be able to have the ability to do that is an honor. It is an honor. It is an honor. It's an honor. And so, and then the other thing, ultimately, my faith. My faith. I would not still be here on this earth. I'm going to tell you after I lost my son, I would not still be here on this earth if I didn't have my faith. So I would think those three things, that's like big heart for
That's
me.
beautiful.
Big
Well,
gratitude.
Natasha, I'm really grateful for you and the energy that you brought to our conversation, and just showing up the way that you do online, in your business, in life. I'm so grateful that I was able to meet you on Katie's conversation, and that we were able to have talks after that. But just thank you
Yeah.
so much for showing up today and sharing your heart and just being who you are.
Can I say this? And
Yeah.
thank you, Emily. Thank you for being who you are, for holding this space for us, for helping us activate our mornings and teaching us and leading us in that way. Because the work that you do and the human that you are, because I've gotten to know you in this short amount of time, your soul is sweet. Comes with ease, it comes with grace, and it comes with a lot of love. And so I want to say thank you for bringing this to us and doing it through your books and doing in the way you serve, because again, nobody does what you do like you do it. So thank you, Emily. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
So can you let us know how people can get in touch with you? You definitely need to share your Instagram handle because your Instagram is so colorful and beautiful, but also your website, please. And I'll also share links.
Yes. Okay. So my Instagram is at Natasha Hemmingway. That's with 2 M's. Yes, you guys, I have a long name. Okay. It's a long last name, Hemmingway, but I love my last name. And then my website is the exact same thing. It is natashahemmingway.com. And so pretty much I'm everywhere just as natashahemmingway.com. On Facebook, but I don't really hang out on Facebook, so don't get me there. But Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, I mean, honestly, but my main place is Instagram, and my website is natashahemmingway.com.
And then for our viewers, you have a free, is it 90-minute webinar that they can watch?
Yes. Okay. So this is like my baby, y'all. So I'm so excited. So this 90-minute webinar is all about, it helps you go deep. So I want you to sit down, lock your kids in the closet, get your husband out the house. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever. I need you to make the space and the time for yourself, because this webinar is all about how to sell with heart, not hustle in uncertain times, which, you guys, that is where we are right now.
Absolutely.
And we don't know what it's going to look like later. And so this webinar is me leading you guys and pouring everything I have out for you to be able to continue to thrive, sell, and move forward in your business and take action and show up so that you can bring money into your business during these times, and so that you know how to show up and sell. And so you have access to that you'll just text 55444. So 2 5s, 3 4s. I better be doing this right off the top of my head. But 55444, text the word heart. No surprise, but you'll just text the word heart, and then you'll get access to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natasha. And I hope you guys find her online, because she is definitely worthy of a follow and a checkout.
Thank you, Emily.
Have a beautiful day.
Thanks. You too.